Today we are talking about Viltrox 26mm f2.8 Evo Edition FE. So this is a full frame pancake lens that made my Sony setup almost perfect. Almost, I'll tell you why almost, why perfect, I will also explain. But this is definitely the pancake lens I've been waiting for. So let's talk about the basics. Build quality. Build quality is a typical Viltrox. So it's compact, it's well made, all the focus ring and f-stop ring, it works flawlessly, it works fine. There's no f-stop lock, so if you go to A mode and you want to control it from your camera, you have to be careful not to touch it, so you change your f-stop to something like f11 or f16. But other than that, it's a well-built lens. It's very compact, super lightweight. It does have this like lens hood, and on the back side you always have this USB-C port, one port for future firmware updates, and you have rubber gasket for weather sealing. It is very well made for what it is. It's a pancake lens that actually can take serious photos. So let's talk about serious photos. Oh, and I forgot to tell you about this, magnetic cap. So it just sticks to your lens and your lens is closed and safe for traveling. This is super cool. Now let's talk about the most important things. So how it performs in real life, how it performs when it comes to sharpness and all things. And then I will tell you why I think this lens made my setup perfect and why is this lens so important to me. But before we go there, I wanted to mention one important thing, that my photo studio is solar powered thanks to ALLPOWERS. ALLPOWERS have sent me solar panels and beautiful power station that I'm using and actually charging everything in my studio, including my lamps, including my batteries, with solar energy. So I got my energy for free. So thank you so much, ALLPOWERS, for sending me this super cool stuff. Now let's talk about the most important thing, which is sharpness. Sharpness in the center of the frame at f2.8 is great. It's really awesome. The contrast is perfect. The sharpness is great. I mean, perfect. Perfect is a big word, but you can see it's super sharp. In the corners, there's a drop of contrast and drop of sharpness. Nothing dramatic, but it's visible, and there's some purple fringing visible there. If you stop it down to something like f4, 5.6, it's slightly better, but unfortunately, purple fringing is quite resistant here. But again, nothing dramatic. Now let's talk about the distortion. There is a little bit of barrel distortion, but again, this is very well controlled distortion. So if you turn on your profile corrections on in your camera, that's perfect. Now let's move to vignetting. Vignetting is visible, it's quite large, so it goes deep to the center of the frame, and it's very difficult to get rid of. So even at f8, it's still there, but it's very soft and smooth, so it's easy to remove it in post-production. So either leave your camera corrections on or correct it in post-production if you should raw. Nothing dramatic again, but something to take note of. When it comes to performance against harsh light, this lens performs at one hand not great. At the other hand, I like the performance of this lens. Let me explain. So it does have a lot of flaring, a lot of uncontrolled bouncing lights inside. If you want this orange sunny type of flares in your images, this lens actually performs nice, which you can see on the portraits of my sons. We are having fun in one of the cities in Poland, and you can see that this flaring is quite beautiful if you know how to use it. But yes, technically there are flaws when it comes to work against harsh light, so make sure to put the lens hood on. Now, next feature is autofocus. It is equipped with autofocus, which is cool because it's so small, and this autofocus is pretty reliable. It doesn't hunt, especially on my A7 Mark IV. It doesn't hunt, it doesn't search, it is pretty reliable. There is some audible noise there, but it's nothing nothing of a deal breaker. But you can hear the autofocus motor working, and it's not the fastest autofocus out there, but it works. And in such a small thing that costs I don't know, something around $200, this is really not that bad. Now, again, when talking about autofocus, let's talk about focus breathing, and there is a visible focus breathing in here. So if you like cinematic effects like this flaring and focus breathing and you want to use it as an effect lens, this might be actually a very cool choice for you, because it does give you a little bit of taste of those anamorphic lenses without being an anamorphic lens. So actually I like this focus breathing, but of course for some people this is nothing enjoyable, so I want you to know that it's just right there. Next thing that I like about this lens is that you can come very close from your object, and at f2.8 the image is sharp. This is super cool because it gives you a lot of versatility. Small lens, insignificant, like it doesn't look like I'm a pro lens, but it's sharp. And the close-up image is sharp, and of course f2.8 it's sharp in the center, and in the corner it's not that great, but who cares about the corners in this case. But if you stop it down to something like 4, then you still have a nice bokeh, nice blurry background, and you have a very, very good sharpness. When it comes to stars, this is not a great lens for stars. You can get some star effect here and there, but it's not a beautiful star. But you know, I wouldn't use it as a typically star effect lens. Now, bokeh, it's 2.8, so at 26mm at full frame, so you know, don't expect anything crazy there, but even now I'm shooting with this particular lens, 26mm Viltrox, and you can see that bokeh is not bad, but look at the sample images, and bokeh is actually pretty okay, something better than I expected. I would expect it to be, you know, more rough, but it's pretty round, it's pretty soft, so if you want a little bit of separation from the background, this lens already can give you that. Of course, it would be great if it's 2.0, for example, but you know, taking into consideration the sharpness, small size, and you know, it's so lightweight, and it does have autofocus system, then I think this is a very, very good compromise. Talking about very, very good compromise, let's take a look at sample images. I love to use this lens. I went to one of the cities in Poland, which is Katowice, and I took some street photography there, and I enjoyed my time with this lens. And I really want to take more pictures with this lens. If I really like this lens, let me put it this way. Most of the lenses I just either, I don't know, send back, or they just go to my shelf, but this lens actually stays with me, and I am going to use it. And if you are looking for something that makes your Sony system more invisible, so you, let's say, have A7 III, 4 or 5, and you want something small, insignificant, but very powerful and actually professional to take street photos, for example, or personal projects, or to travel with, this lens is awesome. Take a look at the B-roll here. You know, with Sony camera and this lens being on the Sony camera, your Sony camera doesn't shout, I'm a pro camera. Of course, if somebody knows, somebody knows. But if you don't expect that this is a pro camera, this lens makes it look like more like a point and shoot compact type of camera. And if you travel a lot, and if you want to be lightweight, and if you want to have a sharp lens that gives you some out of focus, you know, background, then this lens, this Pancake, is actually a very, very good choice. And one more important thing that I don't think other reviewers mentioned, that you can actually use filters on it. And there's 43mm filter thread that comes that you can mount on this lens hood. So a very cool lens overall, and this Evo sign is not in vain there. So if you want compact travel lens, and you happen to own something like A7 Mark IV, or even better A7C or C2, this lens is just so awesome. So highly recommend that. It's not flawless, as you could see for yourself, but it's a very cool lens, and I'm very grateful to Viltrox that I could test it. And yeah, that's it. If you like my shirt, please comment down in the description below if this shirt is something you actually enjoy looking at or not, because I usually have like t-shirts with, you know, something on it here, but this shirt is tailor-made in Africa. You go into one of the African shops, they take measures of you, and then you get the shirt from the selected you know, fabric. So let me know in the comments below if you like my African shirt. And that's it for me now. So take care and see you in the next recording. And I'm gonna use this Viltrox lens cap right now. Click.